The Raiders firing Luke Getsy is the news that I need to hear today. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and today is Overreaction Monday after another clown show embarrassing loss, 32-13 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just going to tell you this right now. We're going to talk about Luke Getsy. We're going to talk about Antonio Pierce. There is nothing else that there needs to be talked about today. I don't want to hear Aidan O'Connell. I don't want to hear Gardner Minshew. I don't want to hear Davante Adams trade rumors. The only thing is this. Our coaching staff right now at the head coaching spot and at the offensive coordinator position, hell, Mark Davis, you deserve to be in that conversation. It is an absolute circus. And I want y'all to hit that subscribe button. Why? If you want the Raiders to fire Luke Getsy, and I've been seeing people out there on social media go, Mitch, we don't need to fire Luke Getsy. We want the number one overall pick. If that's your mindset, don't say just win, baby. Don't say commitment to excellence. Bottom line is this. Even if the Raiders can't fire Getsy, every day that he's out there calling plays for you, because it is a black eye on the organization. Luke Getsy might be worse than Josh McDaniels. This Raiders team right now might be worse than the Raiders team last season with Josh McDaniels. And I know that it's Overreaction Monday, but everybody that's watching this show right now hears me say that and they go, yeah, this team might actually be worse than last season's team with Josh McDaniels. So is it time to fire Luke Getsy? I think it is absolutely positively time to move on from this guy. And I know a lot of people are going to go, Mitch, you're only 6 games in. I never wanted Luke Getsy in the first place. Just like I never wanted Josh McDaniels in the first place. But the product that is being put on the field right now is one of the most atrocious, it looks like high school football done at a bad level in the National Football League. Your yards per game, you're 26th. Your passing yards is decent, but when you really watch a lot of the games, the passing yards that the Raiders are getting are in some of the most absolute garbage times simply because the Las Vegas Raiders are the only team in the NFL this season that have been trailing every single game at least one time by 10-plus points. Yes, we've come back and beat the Ravens, which us beating the Ravens, you're going to go back and look at that as more of a surprising win than Vanderbilt beating the Alabama Crimson Tide. But then you also talk about the turnover problems. You talk about from top to bottom how just unbelievably bad and hard to watch this Raiders offense is on a play-by-play basis. It's offensive that this guy is still calling plays in the National Football League, and it's time to just simply make a change. My number one reason why you got to make a change, Getsy might be worse than McDaniels. Getsy and McDaniels are a cut from the same cloth. They are the Spider-Man meme. Exactly what McDaniels did is exactly what Getsy does. He's somebody that can scheme up a few really good drives in the first quarter, and then after his first few drives, it's nothing but just vanilla high school football, and there are no adjustments that can be made. And I knew that this is what the Raiders are going to get themselves into. I heard what Bears fans had to say. I've seen all the advanced analytics. I've seen the advanced stats. You can say what you want. You've seen what Justin Fields looks like without Getsy. But the Raiders' points per quarter this year were 14th in the NFL with 5.2 scored in the first quarter. Second and third, we are in the bottom of the league in terms of points scored per quarter. And then we are saved with 6 in the NFL, averaging 7.5 points per quarter in the fourth, because think about the Ravens game. Think about the garbage time points against the Cleveland Browns, the garbage time points against the Broncos, the garbage time points against the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you take away garbage points, the Raiders in the second, third, and fourth quarter are bottom 3 in the NFL in terms of overall points scored. Luke Getsy has proven to you now, 2 years in Chicago, and he's proven to you already 6 games in, he's not good enough to be an offensive coordinator because he's not good enough to be able to make any adjustments into the NFL. And if you can't make adjustments in anything that you do, you're not going to be good at it. I mean, after a 10-play, 70-yard drive where Alexander Mattison is used very heavily in that first drive, and the Raiders get a touchdown, what do? They go away from Alexander Mattison. They put in Amir Abdullah. You put in Dylan Laube. And then your next 6 drives, you gain a total of 55 total yards. Hell, your next 8 drives in total were a bunch of 3-and-outs, a blocked punt, a bunch of punts, a interception, a fumble. This Raiders offense is hysterical to me. And one of the funniest things when you watch this team, you know that he's going to do it. It kind of reminds me of, McDaniels with the 3rd and long. Probably going to be a screen to Amir Abdullah, right? Or when McDaniels would get around the 40-yard line, you knew that he was going to try to draw up some crazy trick play. The Raiders have perfected, Luke Getsy has perfected the art of useless running plays just to call a running play. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. Like, the amount of times the Raiders are losing in a game and it's 1st down and 20 and Luke Getsy is just like itching for that 2-yard pickup up the middle, and then it's 2nd down and 18, and then he's just itching for that run up the middle to get another yard or two. I've never seen a team strive so hard to pick up 1 to 2 yards on 1st and 2nd down on running plays when you don't need to do it. Brain dead decision making is another reason why Luke Getsy makes me want to jump out of a window. Now, here are some of the ones that I just thought of, and this was on my walk to work today. I was just jotting them down. After the Raiders go on a 10-play, 70-yard drive, it's 3rd down and 11, and they run the football with Amir Abdullah after a touchdown drive. Disgraceful. So then again, we talk about how great Madison has been in the running game. So then, what do they do on your 3rd drive? You go to Dylan Laube, he puts the ball on the ground. Then you're talking about 1st and 2nd long running plays, and this was the play, and I know that this game is maybe a little bit out of the way, okay? The Raiders get down to the 1-yard line, and Antonio Pierce, you did a bad job coaching. You should have challenged this play because Abdullah, you know what? He might have actually been in on the play before. I thought he extended. I thought he got in. But the last play that I ever want the Raiders to run on 3rd down and goal in a game that you've been getting absolutely blown up the middle because Andre James has zero anchor, especially against Casey Hayward. This is the play the Raiders decided to run on 3rd and goal at the inch line mark. They got Amir Abdullah in at running back, which again, you tried to hurry up. I don't mind that you tried to hurry up, but how, if you're going to run up the middle, why are we in shotgun? Why are we handing the ball to Abdullah, and Abdullah gets hit at the 4-yard line? The fact that there was an offensive play caller in the NFL calling plays in this type of situation on a consistent basis is an absolute disgrace. DJ Turner's in at tight end, and again, when you look at the play before, they got down to this spot, and they should have challenged it because I do think Abdullah got in. And I know that the Raiders were trying to hurry up, but all I saw from this entire game was Luke Getsy was never ready, Antonio Pierce was never ready, and the vanilla play designs I just can't take anymore. Watch a coach that is actually fun and entertaining when they design plays. I'm telling y'all right now, I want Ben Johnson next season. We were talking about it here in the Chat Sports studios of what the Raiders are going to have to do to figure out a way to get him. But when you watch certain guys call plays, and then you watch the way Luke Getsy calls plays, if you can legitimately look me in the eyes and say, Luke Getsy is the best guy to call plays on this team, I think that you're lying to yourself, because there are a handful of guys that I would rather trust right now on this Raiders coaching staff, and I'm going to tell you who they are after you get hit with a YouTube ad break. So this is going to be the pinned comment. I have already made it very clear, if you don't know, I do not want Luke Getsy calling plays anymore for the Silver and Black. So after this YouTube ad break, I'm going to tell you better guys that are on the Raiders' current staff that deserve to be calling plays, and if the decision is not made to get rid of Luke Getsy this week, the Raiders don't care about winning football games. There are many, many names to look at, and I know that Antonio Pierce is not an offensive-minded guy. So you know what, AP, since I think you're in a little bit over your head right now with this whole coaching thing, I'm going to give you 4 names that would do a better job than Luke Getsy. Quite frankly, I think anybody that's watching this video right now, if you could do a better job calling plays than Luke Getsy, click that like button. Let's talk about Scott Turner. He was the Washington Commanders OC from 2020 to 2022. I don't have a lot of confidence in Scott Turner. I'm not going to get it up here, get it twisted, but Turner's at least going to throw the football, and this team is a way better throwing at football, which I don't even know if they're very good at that, than compared to just running the football. Started coaching in 2005. Comes from the Norv Turner tree. Let's just try something a little bit different. Or we talked about running a lot of 12 personnel. Maybe you decide to go with a Luke Steckel. He's a very well-respected coach in that room. Went to Princeton. Last time I checked, that's a hard school to get into. And I know that he's got no experience as an OC, but the Titans kept him from 2013 to 2022. And the reason why that I say that is that's 4 different head coaches. 4 different regimes, 4 different head coaches decided to keep Steckel on the roster. Why? Because he's a well-respected coach, and I don't think he's going to do much worse than what Luke Getsy's doing right now. What about Edgar Bennett? This might be the most realistic choice out of all the Raiders could go with. Probably one of the most respected coaches in that room's been there the longest. Bennett played in the NFL also from 1992 to 99 with the Bears, with the Green Bay Packers. Been coaching in the NFL since 2005. He's got 3 years of OC experience. If I was the one calling shots, if Antonio Pierce has got a set of nuts on him, he'll make Edgar Bennett the OC this week. Joe Philbin, that's another guy you can go with. He's been coaching in the NFL and college since 1984. Personally, I think that this is the route AP would probably go because Antonio Pierce has yet again just showed you that, and maybe it was a little bit of foreshadowing of him trying to bring in all these guys like Tom Coughlin, Joe Philbin, Marvin Lewis, guys that have, head coaching experience, and that was the right move for Antonio Pierce to do because he's clearly not ready to be a head coach in the NFL, but maybe because Joe Philbin's got some OC experience, and maybe because AP trusts Joe Philbin the most, that could be a route that the Raiders decide to go with. My bottom line is this. I refuse to watch Luke Getsy call any more plays. And I said this, every time the Raiders post something on Instagram, every time they post something on Twitter, every time that one of those guys go live at the podium, I'm going to be the first guy in the comments. Fire Luke Getsy. Move on from Luke Getsy. If you're on board for that, every time you see the Raiders do anything on social media, that's our job to get our voice heard. And at this point, I'm done with it. I am on the Fire Luke Getsy train, just like I was on Fire Josh McDaniels train. I can't sit around and just continuously watch this team be as bad as what they are. I can't do it. I can't do it. I work too hard. A lot of people spend way too much money on these tickets. Mark Davis, if you give any kind of a shit, man, get rid of this clown right now. Coming up, Antonio Pierce. He's got to be on the hot seat in some sort. I'm not saying that AP is going to get fired this season. The Raiders shouldn't fire Antonio Pierce. But you know what? You're going to have to talk about it in 2025 because there's a legitimate chance this team might not win another football game this season. If you want to go to a Raiders game, my God, you might as well get tickets at a good price. I will tell you this, it might be the worst ticket in all of Las Vegas right now. So if you're like, all right, Mitch, I already got tickets out there, what else can I do? Then you definitely need to download the Game Time app. $20 off with code ChatSports. And I know this, man. If I'm planning on going to a Raiders game, I already know that my Sunday probably going to be ruined. So make sure you're doing something on Friday. Make sure you're doing something on Saturday. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code ChatSports, that's ChatSports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. You're going to be able to get last-minute tickets and flash deals. So again, if you're like, all right, I already got a Raiders ticket, but I'm hanging out there on Saturday, like for me, I'm not going to the Raiders and Chiefs game on October 27th, but I will be in Vegas October 26th. If you're like in that exact same boat, hey, there's plenty of things to do in Vegas. We know that. And this is a perfect app for anybody that already made plans, but you still want to be able to go out and do other things. The Game Time app is there to help you. But again, if you go on the app and you click into a theater event, a comedy event, hell, the Raiders are a comedy event right now, then go to the Game Time picks. You're going to be able to see what the best deals are available out there. You're going to be able to see where you're sitting in the venue. I've been trying to go out to the Spheres for a long, long time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code ChatSports for $20 off. That link's going to be available to everybody watching the show down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Let's go to the next thing now. Is Antonio Pierce a bad head coach right now? Right now, he is a bad head coach. This one's for just win, babies. It's not an overreaction. I'm not saying that AP can never be a good head coach. Maybe at some time it's going to happen. But if Antonio Pierce is going to use things like business decision, right now he's given Mark Davis at least an idea that we might have to make a business decision at the end of this season and fire this guy. Again, the Raiders are the only team in the NFL that has trailed by 10 points in every game this season. How you beat the Ravens, I have no idea. You beat the Cleveland Browns, which look like maybe the only team worse than the Raiders right now. This team is soft. This team is unmotivated. This team has no identity. And all of those reasons are because of this coaching staff. Now, don't get me wrong. Our quarterback play sucks. I knew that was going to happen. The Raiders have had a lot of injuries, and that's really unfortunate for Antonio Pierce. I get it. But every team also in the NFL, is also dealing with these problems. And when teams deal with these type of problems, you can see it year in and year out. Certain teams have good coaches, and they figure out a way. Some teams are good ran organizations. They figure out a way. But Antonio Pierce doesn't call plays on offense. He doesn't call plays on defense. He's supposed to be a motivator. He's supposed to give a team an identity. He's supposed to have a bad boys Raider style of team. So here's my honest question. What does Antonio Pierce provide as a head coach? I'm genuinely asking you this question. What does Antonio Pierce provide as a head coach? Because here's my honest opinion on this. Everything, and I mean it, everything I thought Antonio Pierce was going to bring to the table as a head coach, the Raiders don't have. Or the Raiders have actually gotten worse at. The Raiders have become a more unsettling team in terms of fundamentals, can't tackle. The Raiders are an unmotivated team. The Raiders give up more now than they've ever given up, ever. This Raiders team has no identity. And I said it last season about McDaniels. Teams take on the identity of their head coach. Teams take on the identity of their leaders. You either A, don't have any leaders, or A, or B, you don't have anybody that wants to step up to the plate and actually play for the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know which one it is. Either you're this bad or you got a bunch of guys that don't even give a shit about going out there. This team is a circus. This team is a joke, and it starts right now with Mark Davis, Antonio Pierce, and everybody calling the shots. They are the worst show in Las Vegas right now. Coming up, I'm going to tell you just another harsh reality about this Raiders team right now. I know it's Overreaction Monday. Some of y'all are probably sitting there going, Mitch, you're overreacting again. Maybe I am overreacting again, but I had a rough day in sports yesterday. Man, you're talking about the Raiders getting their ass kicked, the Mets got their ass kicked, and I know I got a lot of Dodgers fans coming at me, which I'm not going to lie. Nico Laz, Noah Santana, Justin Abgen, real talk, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I really do. I also really appreciate our Week 6 MVP. Even though the Raiders report did fall to Steelers talk and we are number 2 in the Chat Sports Power Rankings, I got to show some love to Ed Robbins. Dude had 10 bangs yesterday, decided to pull up, especially during our tailgate time. And I'm going to tell you all this. If the Raiders are going to continuously be as bad as what they are, it's not going to change for me. I'm still that Raider fan. Womb to the tomb, I'm still that guy. And if you are that type of Raider fan and you're somebody that's like, you know what, I'm going to ride with this team no matter what, I hope you to continuously pull up with us on game days because I'll be here. I'm not going to give up. I'm not like this Raiders team. I'm not soft like that. Is the season over for the silver and black? Yes, it's done. This team stinks. They're 2-4, and I don't know if they're going to win another game for the rest of the season. Like, legitimately, the Raiders are a lock to have a top 5 pick, and I know right now that if the season were to end, the Raiders would actually only have the number 10 pick in the 2025 NFL draft. But how bad they are coached and how bad they are as just a team and how badly they are banged up, they're not going to the playoffs. They are not even in contention, I think, to be outside of the top 10. If the Raiders don't have a top 10 pick, I will be shocked. You know why I think the season's over? Because, one, Luke Getsy sucks as a play caller, and I don't know if that's really going to change. Like, I legitimately think that they're probably just going to keep rolling Getsy out there because that's just what this team's going to do because I don't think that they're actually trying to win this season. Antonio Pierce, whether you like this or not, and I could say that I wanted AP to be the guy, but Antonio Pierce has proven to me that he's in way over his head, can't do anything during the game. I don't know if he actually makes an impact for this team because everything I thought this Raiders team was going to bring to the table with AP, they just simply haven't done. The defense is extremely banged up. They're always on the field because our offense can't move the football, and I do think that the defense, unfortunately, which I know they've given up 30-plus points in 3 out of the last 4 games, and the game that they didn't give up 30 points to was the Browns, but you also have to put a lot of blame on the offense for putting the defense in that situation. The team's soft. They lack leadership. They're not motivated, and I just don't know when they are going to win again. Like, we can go through and we can look at the Raiders' schedule. They got 11 games left on the schedule, and the NFL trade deadline is November 5th. If you're Las Vegas, you're selling, and they're going to start selling. I'm selling Andre James. I'm looking at potentially selling Colton Miller. You're probably going to move on from Davante Adams. You're bad right now at 2-4, and you're about to continuously sell. The Rams, I know that they're 1-4, but they're also coming off a bye, and they got Sean McVay. Call me crazy. I'm going to believe in Sean McVay after a bye. I don't know how the hell we beat Kansas City. The Bengals have the same record, but they've been playing much better football. Week 11, I'm going to guess the Dolphins have Tua back by that time. Week 12 versus Denver, they pushed our shit in the first time we played them. Then you got Black Friday against Kansas City. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, good luck there. Jacksonville, maybe we could beat Jacksonville. They might be trying to tank. Week 17, we'll see what the hell that game looks like with New Orleans. Maybe it's Spencer Rattler, maybe it's Derek Carr. I'm not even sure. The only game I'm even looking forward to on the schedule right now is Week 17, and damn it, I hope Carr plays in that game. And then you got Week 18 against the Chargers, another team that, again, pushed your shit in the first week that you guys played. I don't think that the Raiders win 5 games this season. I hope that I'm wrong, but then there's also that part of me that's like, I hope that the Raiders can get a franchise quarterback. I hope that the Raiders can get a Ben Johnson at head coach. I hope the Raiders can get an offensive coordinator that looks like he actually knows what the hell he's doing and he doesn't sit around all the time with his thumb up his you-know-what, because I'm not sure what Luke Getsy does. I'm not sure what this team practices on a week-to-week basis, but honestly, if this team is practicing every single day that they're supposed to practice, that might even be more concerning, because this team looks like they don't practice anything ever. So I know it's Overreaction Monday, and I was really heated yesterday, but I also didn't say a lot of the things that I wanted to say, because after that loss, I just felt like everything was just drained out of me. I was frustrated, and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. But if the Raiders care about winning, they will move on from Luke Getsy in some sort of another. They will put somebody else in there at OC. If they continuously roll out Luke Getsy as OC, and if Antonio Pierce doesn't make any changes, then we have to legitimately consider making a business decision and moving on from AP and moving on from that offensive side of the football and bringing in a brand new guy like Ben Johnson or whoever the hell can put this team on the right path. Because I'll tell you this coaching staff doesn't make me believe we're going in the right path.